Greetings everyone, and Great here. Another couple heroes to replay. So on the right side as blue OKW player, we got Kanos0001. So on the left side as the guard motor coordination tactics, we got Daemon. Double combat engineer opener. He does have a sniper bulletin, so this may be to a tier 1. Yes, we do have tier 1 now being employed in the field. You may be going from early M3. Whenever I go for tier 1 opener, I'd like to go for double combat engineers and 2 penals. Double combat engineers are a good combat squad, particularly for their price. I don't ever feel bad building extra combat engineers since they are a decent combat squad. They don't scare all too well in the late game, but in the early game they do reasonably well. And we've got double Kupelwagen in the field, so the end thing should be particularly useful. Of course, you don't have enough fuel even for it. Immediately costs 15 fuel. Not very thirsty, but can be relatively thirsty. Penal squad on the build queue, of course. Contrast built wire there. What that wire right there is supposed to do, I have no idea. Interesting wire placement. If maybe trying to occupy, maybe queued orders. He did do a stop order there, so I'm not sure. Do now Volkswageners on the build queue. We could see the Overwatch doctrine, a pretty standard doctrine nowadays. Scavenge doctrine, my preferred doctrine for the Jaeger light infantry because I like the infiltration tactics quite well. And elite armor doctrine, which is mostly just used for heat rounds, honestly, and the Panzer Commander. Howdy. Over here, double Kupelwagens finds the penal squad and the Schumpiner. That Schumpiner got hit by too many squads at once. It makes sense he fell back there. We do have commentators capture the munitions sector, of course. We got the Sturm Pioneers heading down south for the winter before General Winter arrives, or Lieutenant Winters. Another penal squad in the build queue, so we're going to see no M3, even though that could be a good item versus the double Kupelwagen. Double Commentators is pretty good in my opinion. And particularly if you keep them together for combat-wise, it's pretty cheap. They can defeat a Sturm Pioneer relatively easily. And not being too terribly more expensive. Since the combat engineers are, what, 170 each, effectively becoming 340. Schumpiners 300. Combaters are pretty good for the price, though this one does get flanked by some Volksgrenadiers. Gets focused on the Schumpiners. Penal squad advancing since the Schumpiners focusing. Did retarget to the penal squad, very nice. Barger should have just kept his distance. Got too greedy there. Combat engineers does fall back. Schumpiner is still plucking away. This garrison does have 4 windows inside, so it's a good, decent garrison to get inside of right now. Incendiary grenade being thrown. Ooh, yeah, that squad is pretty wounded, and he managed to catch the actual AoE effect of the incendiary there. One dude from South Korea tried this. I'm not sure who that is. And when I think of South Korea, I think of StarCraft 2. We do now have a sniper on the build queue. Sort of reminds me, I saw a comic recently. South Korea, mine more minerals, shows StarCraft 2. North Korea, mine more minerals, shows North Korean being forced to mines. We have the commentators getting nice and close. The Volkswageners took a bit of damage there, forced by the Volkswageners. Probably gonna just focus on the Kupelwagen right now. 2 Kupelwagens here can focus on the wounded penal squad quite a bit. Another penal squad pushing forward, also quite wounded. Focus on one squad at a time. Can run them down to semi-automatics, and of course, semi-automatics do quite low versus the large target size Kupelwagens. Get some damage there. And does not take it out there. Another Kupelwagen falling back. Needs repairs. Does go for the Overwatch doctrine. Goes for Jaeger light infantry. We do have a Soviet sniper on the field. And we've got the mechanized HQ going for... Well, first off, mechanized HQ. That's pretty rare. Second off, we got repair pioneers for Kupelwagens. No, save the fuel, go straight for looks, or for a Stukas Fus. Don't go for... It's not worth a 15 fuel right now. You want to rush out the Panzer II. Or just don't spend fuel on that. That is not a good idea. Sniper finds the Jaeger infantry. And Jaeger infantry finds a sniper's bullet to one of their guys' face. Combat engineers do fall back. One Kubelwagen is now fully repaired. The other one's getting repaired on up. We've got the G43 upgrade on the Jaeger infantry as well. There is a decent reason why not to go for it. Penals are a decent combat squad. While I do agree M3 would be very nice versus these double Kubels. The best argument not to is because the M3 does not have longevity, so you will be throwing fuel away, but could be a payout in the end. And Penals are still pretty good though. How much fuel do you want to spend on countering 2 Kubelwagens? PTRSs. That's going to rip the apart the Kubelwagen, take that one out. I thought he's going for AT Satchel there. Problem is, Penal PTRSs really does reduce the anti-infantry, so there's a lot of damage drop off there. I really don't like Penal PTRSs, but I understand why people go for it. He does spot the mechanized HQ, who's going to receive repairs now. Going to plink away at it. Volkswagen's pretty forward, no satchel charge. Does fall back there. Double Jaeger infantry now in the field. We've got G43 upgrade on the way as well. Do we have medics yet? Yeah, it does have medics. If a Kubel will survive and get the first level of veterancy, the enemy Kubel will suffer because of the recon advantage. True. Detection mode is a very nice ability, but it's also pretty fragile. I mostly both Puma. No. You should only build the Puma once your opponent goes for something. Right now, the Puma is going to be completely worthless. The Soviet player has not even got tier 3 built. When the Soviet player sees the Puma, don't go for T-70, don't go for SC-76 or quad half track, just go straight tier 4. Because 1, you see your opponent's got repair pioneers. 2, you see the Puma, that's 85 fuel not being spent. 3, you also see mechanized HQ, not battle group HQ, so you have to don't have fuel there. Yeah, the Soviet players is now just set up for success due to the poor decisions of the OKW player. Even if the combat engineers literally can't do a single thing versus the Puma is even hardly even considered a soft counter to the combat engineers. Yeah, the Soviet player should just skip tier 3, go straight to tier 4, and get out T-34 76. Yeah, T-34 76. T-34 85s are less effective versus infantry. When's the last time you've ever seen Annihilation Victory in Couple Heroes 1? Though the Puma can counter the sniper, that's the best case scenario in this situation. The aim shot ability has 100% accuracy. I have only ever in a 1v1 managed to go for Annihilation Victory once. And that's because I had a bunch of Shermans and my opponent had a really good field control, so I decided just to rush the base and manage to kill off all the structures. Decent shot there by the Puma somehow. Sniper does fall back there. Stone Pioneer's making some good damage. This Penal squad is taking some damage. He has multiple Penal Pierces there, which is an overkill for the Puma. The Puma's an asset you could just simply ignore and be perfectly fine. So I really disagree with all the PTRSs. Goes for the T-70. Now, just go straight for tier 4. Get a T-34 76. Hell, Katusha if you don't want to get in the range of the Puma as well. I feel like both players are making not good decisions, in my opinion. You can ignore this asset. Oh, going for a flare trap, very nice. It's a free ability, and even if it's free, it doesn't mean people deploy it. It takes micro and takes time, and I'd rather have a unit walk forward than try to deploy a free flare mine that takes only 3 seconds to deploy. Because the walking time's more valuable. Oh, we got triple penal PTRS. So there's an easy counter to the Puma. Only one Volkswagen is here for Panzerfaust. We also got guards here who has PTRSs. Doesn't have enough munitions for the DPs though. Does get a shot there on the Jägerlight infantry. I see no need for annihilation, just break the enemy's base defense and lock down. Possible, but not likely. Strom Pioneers gains good damage to the Penal PTRS. Another Penal PTRS here, does get a shot there on the T-70. Penal PTRS plinking away against the Puma, who needs to drive forward. Slowly plinking away against the mechanized HQ. Sniper gets a shot there in the Jägerlight infantry. T-70 does take a pen there. T-70 should be able to stand one more shot. Now trying to back on off. Penal PTRS rotating around. We may see AT shot there. Does manage to pick off the sniper with the aim shot. That was the best case scenario I thought for the Puma. Yep, this can be targeted against infantry and has 100% accuracy. Great for wiping out retreating squads and snipers. Guards do not have the DPs just yet. So the player has 96 munitions, enough for DP, just need to be in sector. We can always throw satchel charges. Frag grenade being thrown to the Storm Pioneers. He does dodge it. Jägerlight infantry providing some good fire support. Throws a stun grenade onto the guards in his return. Jägerlight infantry and guards, or Jägerlight infantry and Volks getting some good damage onto that Penal. Kubawagen managed to get repairs, hiding behind the giant pile of hay, which may, with that big pile of hay, could ignite itself as it ferments. T-70 does take a pen there. T-70 does stay alive, though the sniper did go down. Another Penal squad on build queue. Honestly, probably could go for guards. Guards have a bit more capability with the DPs.
Penal troops are standing by. The sector is at risk.
Yep, OKW player has, well, nearly 12k at this point, or 1200, not 12k. If he had 12k manpower, something would have gotten very wrong. He has enough, there's a sheer Panzer quarters. He may be trying to go for some Oberstrassen next. He's approaching enough fuel for a Panzer IV, another 80 more fuel, which means about another 3 to 4 minutes until he can play a Panzer IV. That manpower is quite significant. Yeah, I probably should go for Oberstrassen or two. Then again, you still need to get the Panzer authorization as well. But you don't need a Panzer authorization to get the Oberstrassen. But it's a pretty quick upgrade, so probably go for that, then start saving for the Panzer IV. Does get a pen there. I don't think anything can really bounce other than small arms onto a Kubawagen. Panzerfaust connects on T-70. Puma in pursuit. Multiple Penals here. One Penal squad gets out of the garrison. Does get broadsided there. Satchel charge, frag grenade, something could be summoned there. And the Penal did get hit quite hard. Oberstrassen in the build queue. Panzer authorization is being authorized. Go for two Obsolescence at this point. Obsolescence at stock are better than Rifleman Squad that's fully veteran at without any bars. Yeah, both Obsolescence bolt action rifles are pretty good. You don't have to go for the LMG upgrade immediately. They are still pretty good combat squad. You can at least build at least something, for example HMG. Actually, the MG34 is pretty good. It has the same suppression rate as the MG42. It doesn't do as much damage, but suppression is the bigger key aspect. The OKW's MG34 is actually pretty good. Looks like Kupavagen went down south by the Penals. You can also go for some Vakenwarfers if needed against a T-70. Does get a pen there. Can go for aim shot to cause some crits. Gets 2 pens there, but everything is pursuing it. And looks like the Sheer Pants Quarters does force back the Penals. LMG 34 now upgraded. I don't know why the debris on the ground just makes me think that's a shoe mine there. Yeah. Just jumping at shadows at that point. T-70 push forward, getting some shots there. Somehow, I suppose at this rate, it would be very nice if the Soviet player would have got some landmines. Could button the Puma, didn't really get close enough for it. True, but it's also vulnerable to AT fire. And costs 70 fuel.
We are losing supplies to the enemy.
And with at least, if you go for elite armor doctrine, the heat rounds would at least punch up his damage a little bit more. Looks like these guys are spotted, at least that one there. Maybe didn't fully camouflage there. Takes a shot there from the Puma. Is more in vain of spending the 1400 manpower he has stored on up. MG34s, Vakenwarfers, just something. Another second Obsolescence not that bad at call as well, though he probably wants production queue for our T-70. Penals bracketing the Puma, does take it out there with the PTRSs. And of course, the Vakenwarfer will be a little less vulnerable to the PTRSs, but still vulnerable just being hit by infantry. Obsolescence throws bundle. Any response does respond with full retreat. Some of the hay is going to go down. T-3485 on the build queue. Squad here does fall back. T-70 needs some repairs. It can always also be used for capturing. T-3485 now complete. Right now comes VP. So Player does have a nice little advantage. 416 versus 270. Bigger capture points while camouflage, while Soviet just suggests where he can be their hideout. Yep, I've had times where I take a camouflage squad, hold fire on a capture point. Granted, I usually play 3v3s in order to make sure our point gets secured. And then maybe have an MG cover it, so if they try to push forward, try to find it, they get suppressed.
Enemy forces are neutralizing a sector.
Oh, taking time to salvage the Kupavagen. Taking time to salvage the Puma as well. Panzer IV now deployed in the field. That's roughly the same time as T-3485. Soviet landmine there. I thought it was going to be detonated by that shot there. T-3485 rolls a miss. Panzer IV needs to not have its rear armor exposed to that thing. Ignore the T-70, focus on the oh, finds a landmine. Jaeger infantry needs to fall back. T-85 did not have Predator's fire turned on. Does immolate the Jaeger infantry squad. Jaeger infantry push forward. They can't do anything to help out there. Obsassin throw, French will smoke. Throws upon a grenade there. Got a panic strike onto the Shroom Pioneers. Starting to fall back there. Does fall back to make a mechanized HQ. Against T-3485, Panzer Force will be okay. Not a great option to counter it. Vikander Warfers spend some of this 1,000 manpower for some Vikander Warfers wouldn't be half bad. The Jagdpanzer could be the next option. Be a very good hard counter to T-3485. I don't know, just spend the 1,000 manpower he has sorted up. That's the only thing I would like to see. Unspent resources are just means you're not going to get any momentum from it. And it's not an RTS where you're floating resources is necessarily a good thing. Though then again, most RTSs for floating resources is not a good thing. Do now have the Kenner Warfare on the build queue. I say go for 2. T-70 is now a Veteran C3, so it should be a pretty good spotter if he wants to transition to it to our recon tank. S4 does a Veteran C1, so now we can bring in Combat Blitz. Let's get suppressed there. More P.O.s pushing forward, so there's going to be a lot of plink damage onto the Panzer IV. So Noble Obsassin wouldn't be half bad as well. I don't know what the plan is for OKW, but such a small army versus enemy who has a huge army doesn't see anything good, pretty much. Though his army's anti-infantry is largely nerfed due to the large number of PTRSs, its AT-tank, however, is still pretty good. That's why I think another Obsassin wouldn't be half bad. And then keep your vehicles as a counter unit, such as the Jagdpanzers. If you kind of work first, push way forward, gets a pen down T-3485. There's another Soviet landmine there, which I think it's swept. Maybe not, it's hard for me to tell this moment. Good shot there on T-3485. It did just recamouflage this, so it's no longer swept. Heavy cover being quite useful there. The problem is 1 squad versus 4. Getting plinked down a little bit there, but the Jaeger infantry, even though negative cover, getting some good work done. He does fall back with both those Jaeger infantry.
Unit ready.
Katusha, T-3485 in the build queue. He did had a Katusha and then cancelled it. Goes for another Jaeger infantry. Not a bad option. I think Obsassin would be a little bit better at this moment in time. Though an MG34 wouldn't have been half bad in that situation either. But of course, a little bit slower. Maybe it's tasking MG34 to protect VP. Run this double catch from fail the Soviets. Need some repairs here. Jaeger infantry heading towards the VP. So the player's doing a great job of spending all his resources. Has a bit of a munitions flow. Only has 1 real munitions sink. And it's not a massive one of marked target. Good ability though. Maybe next time he buttons the Panzer IV, he can use it. Plus Button itself can eat munitions like crazy. So this is a usable amount of munitions. You can easily go through within 3 seconds. Okay, player could be just start saving up for sector assault. Manpower has finally been consumed a little bit more. Goes for another Kubelwagen for some odd reason. I would be fine if he goes for a Volks. That looks like dead Panzer IV. Didn't mark target. Does get satchel charge off. And it does explode, so mark target was not needed. Storm Pioneers may go down. Cannonball does strike the T-70. A fouls for the T-70. That'll make sense. Extra snare squad.
The enemy is taking what we have secured.
Another Cannonball from the build queue. It's a good pen there. Of course, the trees in the front of it's taking a lot of shots there. He was embedded in negative cover, so took a lot of extra damage there. Does not take it out though, but got a good amount of damage to the Cannonball. Hitting the Eagle Infantry now, force him back. Right now, the OKW has quite a bit of fuel stock caught up. He does the battle crew B2, doesn't have upgraded, so can't get the King Tiger until that gets upgraded, if I remember correctly. T4, oh, there goes the Kubwagen. T485 may go down, does go down.
Enemy forces capturing supply sector.
Unit squad does fall back. Good shot there on the T-3485. Multiple good hits.
The enemy has taken our supply sector.
Oh, got defense. We do have the For the Fatherland activated. Of course, still be good not to be in negative cover. Eagle Infantry push away forward. For the Fatherland now activating this sector as well. A very small sector though. Drops a P2S. Does pick up for the Eagle Infantry. It's probably not a great item for the Eagle Infantry. May get some good hits there onto the... Gets the main gun short crit on the T-70. But that's about it.
We are losing supplies to the enemy.
Probably would have been better to find the Storm Pioneers and have it pick it up. Throws out a fungible smoke grenade there. We can over setting on up. Got the Volkswagens who can go for Panzerfaust. Other Vulcanowurf pushing forward. Volkswagens pushing on the rear. Does take up that Vulcanowurf there. Gets a pen there. This may be a kill shot with Panzerfaust. A lot of bounce there for sheer transporters. Lucy got a bounce there, so got about, what, half damage? Eagle Infantries do fall back. Plus, the bounce there... Bounces cannot kill units, even if the bounce does damage. It will leave it at 0 health. And at that point in time, even a smoke mortar can take it out. If it pens as well.
We have 200 points remaining.
Pioneers do fall back.
Territory secured. You have done what you were told.
There's the King Tiger now deployed on the field. Going for the Pinto Mount immediately. The very stealthy King Tiger. I sort of missed when the game had it so the vehicles had their engines playing at full volume regardless if they're in fog of war or not. Because right now, technically the Soviet player I have selected, it sort of bugs out sometimes so I don't go back and forth. Right now, Soviet player is selected, that's why you can't hear the King Tiger. I missed the old version of where you could just hear where the tanks are. It just gives a high skill capability. You could just listen for the tanks, follow where stuff gets crushed. There goes that guy there. And so you can just start marking, bring artillery in. having a rough idea. It's just a high skill level play. I just wish they just didn't got rid of. I think it went away in the 64-bit of the version of the game. Squad does take a nice hit there. It does from the landmine there. Not Katusha. Volcano hits the 2485. Was the cat and mouse game? Well, the Brits are not here, so no Tommy and Jerry. Penal squad falling back. Good shot there onto the penals. I think, okay, looks like stun grenade up here. Good item versus the King Tiger would be the SU-85. Right now the Soviet player has 100 fuel, so not enough for an SU-85. He still has marked target available and a good amount of munitions to go along with it. So maybe if the guards can just charge forward, button the King Tiger, then just mass satchel charge it for a time frame. If necessary, he could try slowing it down with a ram with the T-3485. That would be very bold. And they're really stacked up, so the King Tiger's getting some great splash damage, and the King Tiger, nope, the commentators will not be going down. Oh! Oh! I said they were really stacked up, but I didn't think it was going to be that bad. Oh! 20 kills right now. I don't know how many of that was. That was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Cross 2 shots. Oof. And the Soviet player does not have stockpile manpower. Or does OKW player have at the moment? The Soviet player still has 3 penal squads and 2 combat engineers, so he still has a good force in the field. So, while that could warrant a rage quit moment, he is not in a game-ending situation at the moment, though he is definitely wounded. He has 151 tickets for his 339, currently neutral capture at the moment. He has time to go for an SU-85. He's going for another T-85. I disagree with that.
Enemy forces are neutralizing a sector.
Force on the ground there. Maybe suspecting of landmines. Well, you can't accuse him of map hacking. Yep. A pile of corpses. People can go first for support. Oh, and that was a miss, really bad rally. He did receive a miss there. So it did take a splash hit. Left 18 on the build queue to Quadra siege down's bonus retreat point. One can work first camouflage here, the other one's uncamouflaged here. The Eagle Infantry down south. Does have enough munitions for the sector assault as well, which could be great against those T-3485s. Katusha here can be useful against the Volcano warfare in return. He should really keep this Katusha on anti-tank duty. Well, anti-tank duty. Blah. Good hit there in that penal squad. We do now have Spearhead activated. Volkson just got forced on back. True, and there goes Katusha, went down for free. He's probably paying too much attention up north. He's going towards his opponent's base. Don't know exactly what he's going to try to do. Took some Panzerfaust there, got splashed down by the base guns. We've had the King Tiger rotating around. Left 18 decides to barrage this one. Might as well. He was a good chance he was going to lose it. Rolls and misses though. It was definitely worth a shot. T485 finds the King Tiger. Could mark the King Tiger. Falls back. Probably a good call. This guy's starting to take some damage there. The Kanos refers and Shun Pioneer push right forward. This guy does express by the spearhead. And this T485 is starting to go down as well. I think with the not so great play of the T485s, loses a squad to a satchel charge, too busy microing other sectors. It's going to be hard for the Soviet player to get back in the game. That is out of control. Because he threw away the Katyusha, he's losing these T485s for free. He had a minor victory there of satchel charging Jaeger light infantry, I think. And the King Tiger is just ripping apart the penals. Yeah, I think the Soviet player's game... Oh! The game has been paused. Likely the Soviet player has backed out of the game. Common issue when it comes to live, expecting live replays. This Angrade saying... Yep, I'm just going to call it for the OKW player because he likely backed out of the game. This Angrade saying, thank you for watching, and on to next replay.